What is our assignment? Cover. Yeah. We'll capture it.
Fallschirm Pioneer are airborne and ready to deploy. Copy into formation. Say your prayers, boys. Time to drop. Fuel depleted. Peeling out.
Pioneers are on position. More infantry.
Fallschirm Pioneers deployed.
Fallschirmpioniere reporting. You need us?
Pioneers. Awaiting
We're ready.
supplies and capturing ground.
Capture complete. Restock while you
Look
can.
at that shit. It's not worth capturing. Defensive positions. How many pioneers does it take to capture a point? Secures that territory. Got it.
MG-42 and crew available.
And meat bag. Consider it done, Commandant. I want sandbag fortifications at this position.
We have orders. Disperse around the
Transport awaiting a drop zone.
Try, baby.
Sandbag wall
Put your
completed.
gloves on.
Barely felt a thing, right, men? We will get there. In due course.
Territory is ours.
Dragon's
We're not
teeth.
staying here, right?
Get them buried. Dragon's teeth. Get them buried.
Fallschirmpioniere, the sandbag wall is finished.
MG, I want that flag raised. I'll man the gun.
An MG-42 team is ready.
Maschinengewehr ready.
Alarm! All victory points are under enemy control.
Ready for... We've laid the barbed wire.
Burn! Over! MG-42 and...
They found us!
We can fight! We have a little...
Keep the pressure on them! Move it, pioneers!
Ready.
Enemy infantry spotted us! Fallschirm...
MG-42...
Enemy infantry!
Acknowledged!
Pioneers.
That's our target!
Awaiting orders.
Weapon team at the ready! Come on!
Son of a bitch! Scheiße! I've been hit! We have a man
Stand
down!
by, Commandant.
I've got the gun! Carry it! Don't take behind!
8-centimeter mortar is ready to provide support.
Get that gun thingy! March orders!
What is our
Max,
assignment?
take the lead!
Pioneers. Awaiting orders.
MG relocating and thrust the attack!
Hey, Pioneers.
Weapon team ready!
What the... Getting there fast as we can. Fire on that target. Take it out. Moving on location. Pioneers ready. Pick it up. Move.
HMG team is advance! MG-42!
Enemy forces have claimed our territory.
Orders coming in.
You have orders? You stand up and fire at the first
Fallschirmpioniere,
Territory lost.
MG-42 and crew ready. HMG team is here! What do you want? Cut them down! After the hole! Reload your asses! Relocating MG while we can!
Fallschirmpioniere, ready for...
Pioneers looking for trouble! MG-42
What is our assignment?
Your orders?
ready.
You need a mortar crew.
Give us a target. On MG-42, moving to coordinates. What needs to be done?
Bastards have secured our territory from us.
Capture complete. Ready for new orders. Understood. Marching orders. On your feet, pioneers. MG-42, we're moving. Ready to deploy immediately. Orders received. Strike them down.
Fallschirmpioniere, moving!
Retreat.
Put up to work.
Fallschirmpioniere,
Panzergrenadier squad standing by.
Go back to HQ! What needs dealing with? Big march! Understood! Move it! Tiger! Unit demolition! Do not hesitate! Engage! Move it all! Grenade! Getting there!
MG relocating MG! While we can!
Field medics will be deployed at the headquarters.
We need points at this position! Quickly! Our Flammenwerfer is inbound!
Laying barbed wire.
Pioniere, ready for orders.
Area with the 42.
LG-40 recoilless launchers ready to paradraft on your request.
Fire has been laid. Strike bear into the
Weapon
infantry.
crew on standby. MG-42.
Yes, sir. We
Moving
are ready.
to coordinates.
We're marching.
Send word. Over.
Need us?
What are your orders?
Moving there. Confirmed.
Pioniere, we're moving out.
What now? Infantry taking
back to
shots
base.
at us! Shoot back!
The enemy has claimed our territory for their own.
Quick march, Panzergrenadiers! Stand him! Leave him! Pick up those feet!
I don't
There
want to
you
see a
go,
single
Johnson.
moving target. Understood?
I'll take the lead!
Wait for the reload. Any
Panzergrenadiers!
second now.
At once. MG-42.
Strike!
Ready for orders.
Ready. Confirm. This thing is heavy, you know. Engage! Hands down!
The enemy have taken our territory.
The rally point! Go! MG-42 and MG-42
Victory point lost.
coordinates. I've got the gun. Carrier, don't lag behind.
Here we are. Indirect fire! Orders coming in. Attacked by infantry!
What needs to be done?
Anti-tank gun and crew are ready for orders.
We have orders!
Return fire! Agent relocating MG!
Territory sector lost.
Weapon team is moving to the last 30 minutes! Fall back! We can't stay here!
On standard support! We can hold them! A grenade! Move! Continue! Stay on the target!
We are losing control of a sector.
Don't stop for him! One hit! What's your partner?
Gunner, take the lead. We move.
Get ready, Panzergrenadiers!
Sector lost.
Moving to coordinates.
Alarm. Sector overrun.
Take the territory and keep your spaces!
Panzergrenadiere have been deployed to the front.
Infantry! Jawohl! I want that sector! No excuses!
Not secure!
The enemy has claimed our sector.
You need us? Weapon team on at once. Relocating MG!
Jim, they're shooting at us!
MG-42 moving in the...
Achtung, Panzer! I know!
Which point?
We hear you! Moving to the...
Order! It's our assignment! Hotline territory captured, Commandant.
Territory taken! We're pushing on! There's a blood pump, Panzergrenadiers! We're wrestling from the enemy!
The enemy has taken a victory point.
Fallschirmpionier. That point must be
We have
captured.
our coordinates. We are ready.
We have
Victory point is under enemy control.
Fallschirmpioniere ready for orders.
Advanced weaponry will soon be available.
Return fire!
To the threat point.
Our adversary enemy forces have secured all victory points.
Infantry spotted us! Retreat!
Jawohl! They won't see us coming. Lock down the sector. With our front and second that was too close. Ready. Enemy territory will be ours.
One of our capture points is under attack.
We're backing here.
Commandant, territory sector lost.
Granate! Akut mal eben! Fall back to HQ!
We are losing possession of a cap. 200 points remain. We are losing our grasp.
Remember to keep your damn heads down! Infantry closing in on us! Marta, we're going there!
Sector now under enemy control.
We're ready. Moving to capture.
Jawohl. We hear you.
Pioneer!
Orders coming in.
Now. You give me that ammo. Panzer.
A Nebelwerfer weapon is available.
What's our target?
Fallschirmpioniere ready to capture.
Reconnaissance runs available. Contact confirmed.
Red most ranks.
We have 100 points left.
Where the hell did they come from? Securing! I don't know that one Panzer Grenadier can do! Give us orders! Take the territory!
Sendwer!
Fallschirmpioniere ready for orders.
Weapon crew on standby.
We have 75 points remaining. We have lost the sector.
Where the hell did they come from?
Reconnaissance overflight. Ready.
Stand down! Panzer Grenadier! Take their sectors! Keep your eyes open! Panzer Grenadier! Enemy infantry want us dead! Grenade! Fire! Keep their heads down! Back and tackle! Panzer Grenadier! Fight to the last man!
Ready for orders.
Pioneers ready! On your feet, Pioneer!
Give us a
Commandant, you have command points available.
Waiting orders! Move orders! Get to it! We're ready! We're on your feet! In contact with the enemy!
They found us. Return fire. Fallschirmpionier attack. Fallschirmpioniere here. Shit! Grenade! Fallschirmpionier! Find that target!
Signal the retreat. It is over.
In a mass I start blasting. Theoretical, periodical.
Look at that shit. It's not fast capturing. Starting construction on our infantry complex.
Fallschirm Pioneer are airborne and ready to deploy.
To work. Yeah. We'll capture it.
Copy into formation.
Inward. Taking supplies and capturing ground.
Fallschirm Pioneer, parachuting on your mark.
Pioneers ready. On our honor. What is our assignment? Build this, capture that. Dragon's Teeth.
Fallschirm Pioneers deployed.
Anti-tank defenses. Let's get started.
We need tools.
Fallschirmpioniere, ready for orders.
Secure that territory. Got it. How many
Fallschirmpioniere, ready for orders. Capture complete. Restock while you can.
MG-42 and crew available.
Maschinengewehr ready.
Dragon's Teeth.
Fallschirmpioniere, ready for orders. Anti-tank defenses.
What needs to be done? MG-42, moving to coordinates.
Looks like you've got solder in your eye. Make my canteen.
Wir Paratruppe, ready to go.
Okay.
Commandant, territory sector lost.
He's buried it. Yeah.
Orders coming
We'll
in.
capture it.
We have orders. Wire spools up front.
MG-42 and crew, ready. I've got the gun.
Fallschirmpioniere, ready for orders. Fallschirmpionier, that point must be captured.
Weapon crew on standby.
An MG-42 team is ready.
Look at that shit.
MG-42,
Fallschirmpioniere, ready for orders.
Pioneers. Waiting, checking supplies, capturing ground.
Hold up, say what your chest, God bless you, need to say we Jehovah. I'm in the Final Fantasy 7 phases, seeing the light through all Satan. Try to complete weapons, don't take a step back, I'm looking decades. I'm the king, better get on the stage. I got this big, big,
The enemy holds all victory points.
go on my keep, it's a
Rest secure and hold that location.
engage the target.
Ready to deploy.
Wrapped around.
Move it. High. Fallschirmpioniere, moving.
Need us? Weapon team, I've got the gun. Jawohl. Stop it.
The enemy has claimed our territory for their own.
They killed another.
Granatwerfer team deployed.
Fallschirm moving. Pioneers. Verstanden. Get those feet moving.
say what your chest, God bless you, need to say we Jehovah.
Now capturing enemy sandwich.
Seen the light,
Fucking
dropping the clear weapons, don't
Send
take a
us to
step back,
capture
I'm
that
looking
fucking
decades.
voice, you
I'm a king, back in yellow on the stage. I got those ping, 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 ring a ding, ding, from me a nice age.
have
Ling,
orders?
ling, 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 throw on my cape.
Give us the target.
Drop it to this, throw on my cape.
MG-42.
It's a plane, drop it to this.
MG-42 and crew, ready.
Tonight I get my rocks off.
ready.
So I take my socks off, so my last stocks off business. Got that money, team lean enterprises.
MG-42 moving to coordinate. Weapon team capturing.
Enemy forces have secured all victory points.
Fallschirmpioniere, ready for orders.
You have orders?
We have orders.
Hold up.
Fallschirmpioniere,
HMG team is here. What do terrorists
Fallschirmpioniere, ready for orders.
What needs to be done? Understood. Marching orders. I've got the gun. Carrier, don't lag behind.
Orders coming in. Fallschirmpioniere, over.
Point must be captured.
We're moving. Fallschirmpioniere and Fallschirmpioniere,
orders. Take the lead. MG-42 moving to coordinates.
What now?
MG-42 and crew ready.
Pioneers, waiting for
Where the hell did they come from? Oh, Panzergrenadiere!
The enemy remains stubborn. We are down to 300 points.
Yes! Commander! He's there! Break contact!
Now, sector overrun.
MG-42, we are ready. Very good. What's our target? Understood. Get back on the gun. Territory captured.
Standing by. Move it!
Field medics will be deployed at the headquarters.
He's dead!
Sure.
In march! Fall back to HQ!
Resources taken. Back to base. We need orders.
Jawohl!
Get out of here!
We have finished the research.
Fallschirmpioniere! They found us! Return fire!
Direct fire!
Move out! I want eyes everywhere! Enemy infantry! Right fast! I'm in! Move in!
We have a surplus of command points available. Panzergrenadiere have been deployed to the front.
What do you have for us? Acknowledge. Moving.
You need a mortar moving to take that point from the enemy! Put us to work!
The enemy has claimed our sector.
Clear the other side. Send word. Over.
Yes, get moving. Eyes front.
Weapon team at the...
Jawohl!
Capturing! We're ready. MG-42 ready.
We have lost control of the victory point.
Good! Taking fire! Get closer! Verstanden? Jawohl! And follow me, Schützen! Pick up those feet! I'll take the lead! Schützen, move! Jawohl! Start running! While you still can! Immediately! Bastard! They're trying to kill us! Panzergrenadier! That's
Very
it!
good. Weapon team
Achtung, Panzergrenadier! Closer! Move! And shit! He's dead! I'll take the lead! Schützen, move! Follow me, Schützen! Where's your fucking stamina? Enemy territory will be ours! They're trying to kill us! Retreat! Hands down as you move! Keep your spacing!
Get to it! United, how many pioneers does it take?
What needs to be done? Have orders. MG-42 and you need us, you know.
We have lost the sector.
You have orders?
What do you have for us?
No contact.
Enemy HMP has us in their sights!
What did you call?
Are your orders?
Jawohl! We hear you capturing the sector!
Order acknowledged, neighbor!
You need them to get in there as fast as we can! Down the retreat! Pioneers taking casualties!
Captured the sector!
Fallschirmpioniere,
up your tools.
Resources protected. We should move forward. Reconnaissance runs available, Commandant.
Panzergrenadiers! That's it!
What are your orders? Fallschirm Pioneers looking for trouble.
Pick up those feet! We'll take it from them! Follow me and move, Panzergrenadiere! Pick up those feet! Bring it up! Move fast! With regulars! Panzergrenadiere, right to the last man! Where's your fucking stamina? Get moving! Achtung, Panzergrenadiere!
10 class reconnaissance vehicle available.
Ready for order. We have move orders. Ready to scout.
Show the infantry.
Sector lost.
Captain, moving to capture territory.
Flowing to halt.
Scanning the area. Engines off. Captain is coming in. Marksman, quickly now. Fallschirm Pioniere. MG40. Awaiting orders, Commandant.
Commandant!
MG42! Needs pushing off.
The enemy has taken a victory point.
Focus fire on the MG! Fallschirm Pioniere, moving! Very good! He's hit! Giving us our orders.
Victory point is under enemy control.
We can't move! We're so fast here! Engines can't cast.
Enemy forces have claimed our territory.
We're ready. Fallschirm Pioniere.
Our front line fails. 250 points remain for us.
Fallschirm Pioniere. Pioneers! This is enemy territory! Beware! Capture radar. Moving to coordinates.
You have orders?
Awaiting movement! Retreat! Give us a target!
Panzergrenadiere ready! Taking Clusterberg! Shoot back! Follow me, Schissen! Get ready!
Enemy forces have captured a victory point.
The heavy machine gun is targeting us! Drop those assholes! Quickly! Slaughter! I'll kill those bastards myself!
Panzer IV reporting in.
I'll take the lead! Explosive rockets incoming! Find cover! Retreat! Hands down as you
MG42.
Getting it done!
Ready. Vehicle capture complete. Are we holding here? Pioniere, ready for orders. I want those weapons ready to fire. We're patrolling.
Acknowledge!
You need us? Weapon team ready. On patrol.
Panzer IV is ready for action.
LG-40 recoilless launchers ready to paraglide on your request.
Taking sector! We hear you! Very good! We are taking that sector!
Unconfirmed move order. Panzer IV.
Fallschirm Pioniere, ready for orders.
Driver, bring us to a stop.
Sector now under enemy control.
Back at HQ. Follow me.
What Captain Kraft observing the area?
Territory sector lost.
Drive, wait here, driver. Fallschirm Pioniere, ready. Pioneers looking for trouble.
In contact with the enemy!
Panzer IV is ready for action.
What now?
Fallschirm Pioniere,
One of our capture points is under attack.
Take
Jake here. We're currently on day 11 of Ukraine's special military operation to liberate the people of Kursk. And we can go straight to the military map. I can show you the minor map updates from the last 2 days. This is deepstatemap.live. Here's the map for August 16th, 15th, and 14th. Minor updates, but we do know these maps are outdated for operational security by about 2 or 3 days. But now that we're on week 2 of this operation, I feel like we can talk about and speculate what are the goals? What is the purpose of this operation? And the first thing you might notice is this highway going west-east. This is a very important highway for the Russians. They've already begun building new defense lines along this highway. This highway is about 40 or 45 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. So I don't think Ukraine is going to go any deeper, potentially, than this highway. If they could capture the highway at any point, this would cripple the Russians in the region. But they don't even need to take it. They just need to get within about 10 kilometers of the highway, and now it's within artillery range. They can start firing on convoys or logistics lines or any part of this road to once again cripple the Russians in the region. So as far as going deeper into Russia, I think this highway is the max at the moment. But Ukraine is happy, spreading out west, spreading out north, spreading out south, along their own border. So here's the prize. Here's the achievement here. When Ukraine was able to break through these 2 defense lines that the Russians had dug, this one was immediately on the border, the other one was 5 kilometers deep. They're now in the trenches, going both west and north, as well as south along their own border. They're in front of the Russians, they're to the side of the Russians, and they're behind the Russians in these trench networks. Oh yeah, these trench networks are also being manned by conscripts, people who don't really know how to fight. So Ukraine is going to take them. All the time and effort and money the Russians spent digging all these trenches, well, these trenches now belong to Ukraine. And Ukraine is going to continue spreading west to take the trenches and spreading south to take the trenches to create their own buffer zone to protect their people and their villages. And Russia can't stop them. Ukraine says incursion aimed at fair talks with Russia. We have absolutely no plans to beg, says President Zelensky. So the timing of this operation is not a coincidence with the November election coming up here in the United States. Ukraine wanted to do something bold and brilliant, as Senator Lindsey Graham said it was, to make the argument that we should continue supporting Ukraine. We have to get past the November election here in the United States, but the US Congress is going to have to vote again in December or January for an additional year's worth of military aid for Ukraine. So the Russians are paying attention to this, the Ukrainians are making their case that we should continue supporting them, that they can win this war. So if Ukraine can bite and hold a significant chunk of Russian territory, well, this changes the debate, the dialogue for future negotiations. Ukraine can now say, give us back all of our internationally recognized territory, and we'll give you back all of your internationally recognized territory. This is pretty brutal for Putin. Aside from that, let's zoom in on a specific section of the map. Ukrainian forces destroyed a bridge over the Sam River in Kursk Oblast. There's a video. I'll link this down below. Ukraine first struck it with 4 HIMARS missiles. It didn't bring down the bridge. They then launched a glide bomb that did bring down the bridge. It's in the video if you want to see it. Here's the picture of the collapsed bridge. And this is not a minor stream. This is a significant river that cannot be easily crossed without bridges. So Ukrainian forces have destroyed 1 of 3 key bridges in Russia's Kursk Oblast, complicating evacuations of civilians, but also destroying Russian supply lines, their logistics. here's a map.
Pioneers,
So
Commandant.
the Ukrainians are here. This is the red. Zuja is just off the map. And they're currently sweeping west. And they're going to use this river, the Seam River, as a natural barrier to cut off the Russians and hold them back.
We have orders.
So there's 3 bridges going across this
An
river. Here's
MG-42 team is
the
ready.
yellow line is the Ukrainian border. This is Russia.
Barely purchasing.
So this river is not.
On
This
our
river
honor.
really should be the border, in my opinion,
Fucking
between
machine
Russia
gewehr!
and
Stay
Ukraine, but it's
low!
not. Ukraine can easily cross into this section of Russian territory, but if these bridges, all 3 of them, are blown or destroyed,
Attack!
Russia can't resupply or get to the other side to defend these villages and towns.
Return fire!
So I can show you how this looks on Deep State map, and I think for fun we can even turn on satellite
Fall back to
images.
HQ!
So you can see this winding river. Here's Ukraine's territory. These are these Russian
Pioneer,
villages.
move orders.
I looked up the population sizes, and some of these are about 5,000 or 6,000 people. And Ukraine is currently moving west through the trench networks, convincing the Russians to surrender if they're willing to surrender, but if they don't, they will be destroyed. And I think within 2 weeks, Ukraine will control all of this territory, all of these settlements and fields.
MG-42
How much
and crew
territory is
available.
this? And this is about 700 square kilometers.
The rally point.
This is on top of the 1,200 square kilometers Ukraine has already taken through Kursk. If they just go west and just take this, they'll then be over 2,000 square kilometers of controlled territory inside of Russia.
Moving under fire!
Here's an
Getting it
interesting
done.
article I'll
Orders?
link down below. This is the first 10 days of Ukraine's Kursk incursion. The Kyiv Independent
Field
went
medics
day
will
by
be
day
deployed at the
saying
headquarters.
what was done and provides video evidence if you want to relive it for yourself. But if this war was a Shakespearean play, I feel like we're on
Ready
Act
for
4.
orders.
I feel like we're getting close to the end game. We're 2.5 years into this war, and I don't think Russia has 2.5 years left to fight still in them.
Research
This is
completed.
bad. CNN is reporting on the ground from inside Russia, embedded with Ukrainian units. That's... It's just embarrassing.
Team on patrol.
Ukraine's military publishes videos showing the first moments of the Kursk attack. This is the border crossing station, and Ukraine had drones in the sky capturing the complete video of them taking this border checkpoint. The video they released is almost 2 minutes long. I can't show combat, but I'll link this down below. And here are 3 Russian soldiers. This is a white flag, this is a white flag, this is a white flag. We have the moments
We have lost
when
the sector.
the Russians at this checkpoint, who were still alive, chose to surrender.
That's our new now.
They chose to live. They didn't want to fight anymore. And we are getting all the videos now from last week that were held back temporarily. This video is almost 3 minutes, and this shows Special Operation Forces capturing a group of Russians somewhere in the Kursk region. I'll link all these videos down below if you want to see the combat operations for yourself. This is a GoPro helmet cam video of Ukrainian defenders from the 80th
Panzer
Air
Grenadier
Assault
Squad
Division.
standing by.
This is the moment they captured a Russian T-80 tank, as well
Commandant,
as
territory
some other
sector lost.
combat operations. This clip is about 6 minutes in total. Ukraine forms a military administration in Russia's Kursk Oblast, according to General Syrskyi. So they're setting up a government administration for the occupied territories inside of Russia.
Reclaiming the sector.
This is not some cross-border raid.
The enemy
Ukraine
has
is going
claimed
to
our
hold on to
territory
this
for their
territory
own.
basically until the war is over. I don't think Russia can expel the Ukrainians. They just don't have enough reserves in them to get this done. This is how permanent this is looking. Ukraine's National Postal Service is ready to open in Suja. Ukraine's Postal Service is ready to open a branch in Suja to deliver parcels to Ukraine's armed forces as soon as permits, funding, and safety measures come through.
Russian
Ukraine is
pioneers
opening
have
post
been killed.
offices on Russian territory.
We are ready. We have our coordinates.
And while Ukraine's military controls these towns and villages, they will be dehumanized. These people will be given the truth that their government has been lying to them,
We're edging all right. Thank you.
really for 24 years, but any symbols of Imperial Russia and
We have lost
the
control
Putin
of a
regime
victory
in
point.
Moscow, yeah, they're going to be destroyed and removed while Ukraine controls this territory.
Слава Україні, героям слава! Що там, границы Родины священные, неприкосновенные, нахуй! Сука, пиздуй!
Ukraine will have its freedom, and it will have its security. Here's a statue that was in the center of Suja dedicated to Lenin. The Ukrainians obviously removed it. Statues to Stalin or portraits of Putin, they're all coming down. They're all going to be destroyed.
Taking heavy fire!
So here's something that people are starting to reflect on as we're now into day 11 of this operation. There's one thing about Ukraine's offensive in Kursk, which is mind-boggling.
Awaiting orders, Commander.
The Ukrainian army controls a large swath of the Russian land, about 80 small towns and
Initiating
villages.
requisition.
And yet, there is zero protests against the Ukrainian army on these territories. No peaceful protests, no armed resistance. Zero. Nada. Nothing. When the Russian army occupied Ukrainian towns, there were always peaceful resistance and grassroots armed resistance that the Russians brutally suppressed. In these Russian villages, nothing. I've seen dozens of videos now of ordinary Russians interacting with the Ukrainian military, and they're cooperating, and they're happy to receive humanitarian aid. I guess the true believers all fled, they were willing to evacuate, but the people staying behind, they don't really seem to care who's in charge of it, as long as they have food and water, and nobody bothers them. The special military operation just got extended. The Russian elites expected Ukraine's incursion to end within days. Now they're starting to panic. The Kursk incursion, Russia's blame game begins, and heads may roll soon. Rumors have begun to circulate on Russian media that criminal cases are being prepared against the generals who failed to prevent Ukraine's August 6 incursion into the Kursk region. So let's start with the guy in charge of the military. This is Belousov. He's still not wearing a military uniform because he has no real military experience, but here's his press conference from yesterday. Today, we are holding another meeting on ensuring the territorial integrity and protection of the population and infrastructure of the border subjects of the Russian Federation. As part of this meeting, today we will focus on the Belgorod region. Ukraine's military is pushing south towards Belgorod. It is planned to hear a plan on concrete actions, which has been prepared by the General Staff on additional measures. It is, first of all, a question of improving the efficiency of the troop command system, of assigning responsible officials, of the allocation of additional forces and means that will be sent to fulfill the main tasks. I will personally supervise the implementation of the submitted plan. Let's get to work. This man is killing me. I mean, he's better than Shoigu. He's not going to be able to save this one. And the question, where is Gerasimov? I don't like speculating anymore about Gerasimov because people have tried roles so many times in the last 2.5 years. There's been so many unconfirmed reports of Gerasimov's imprisonment, his death, his firing. But I think with Kursk, this is the end. I think with Shoigu, signed about a month or two ago, Gerasimov is next, and I do think he will be reassigned. There will be an announcement probably in the next week or two. As far as what are they saying on Kremlin State TV, their pundits are now conceding that Russia may lose this war. They've been kind of talking around this the couple months, preparing their people that everything is
The enemy has claimed our sector.
and Russia struggled. Everybody inside Russia knows that, but for Kremlin State TV to start openly talking about potentially they might not win this war. Putin is trying to prepare his people for less than the complete objectives of the SMO being achieved. So here's what this plan says. His name is Shak Nazar, and he's on Solvyan's show. I'll read what he said. We must always assume that we can lose. We can. If such mistakes continue to occur, we may lose. This is not defeatism. This is not alarmism, so to speak. This is just an absolute understanding of the price that we and our motherland will have to pay. Do you understand? And by the way, let me remind you that in 1942, during the most tragic days of the Great Patriotic War, Stalin gave a speech in which he said that we had practically lost. Try to remember those words he said then. That's when the turnaround happened. The turnaround happened in 1942 because of the Lend-Lease Act from the United States. Hundreds of thousands of tons worth of materials you needed to fight the war. In addition, the British and American Air Forces bombing German factories every single night. That's why the Russians were able to pull out in 1942. Not because of Stalin's speech. Apparently we made some very powerful incentives inside, so we understand in our heads that what will happen if we lose and what will happen to us. Soviet then jumps in. Humanity will not exist. Neither will our country, but neither will humanity. Our country won't exist. Our people won't exist. If they lose, he's, giving an insinuation that Russia's going to launch all of their nuclear weapons unless they're allowed to win this war. Massive fall of Russian POWs gives Ukraine new leverage to bring home its own. Ukraine's Kursk offensive has captured thousands of enemy soldiers in one of Russia's worst defeats of the war. Now Kyiv thinks it has negotiated leverage to bring home its own fighters. According to The Independent, Ukraine has captured around 2,000 Russian POWs in Kursk. As they're moving through these trench networks, they're trying to convince these guys to surrender. They'll be treated fairly, and they'll probably be exchanged pretty quickly. Ukraine doesn't want to hold on to them, and they just want their own people back. It's up to the Russians if they care about these Chechens and conscripts. So there's lots of videos, lots of interviews of these children, really. 18, 19-year-old Russian men who chose to live and chose to surrender. Here's a conscript who attempted to kill himself rather than being captured. He failed to do so, was found by Ukrainian forces, and they saved his life. He's now a POW, but he was willing to give this interview to tell his story about how he almost took his own life. How did you come to this? He then says, I got the grenade. He said, let's do it. So he was trying to commit suicide with a comrade using a single grenade. I've seen these videos online, guys. Russian soldiers are taught by their commanders that rather than being captured, it's better to take their own life. They put grenades under their chin, or they put grenades under their body armor or under their chest to take their own lives. We hugged each other, said our last warm words to each other, and just threw it on the ground. What about the comrade? He has a leg injury too. At that point, I had already been close to death 3 times, so did you want to commit suicide? We were afraid to surrender. So Russian commanders tell their soldiers that if they're captured, they'll be tortured, brutalized. This is the kind of motivation they give their soldiers to commit suicide rather than being captured. We didn't know what happened at the way things are now. I only it was your soldiers, then a medic on the team. He gave us first aid, your soldiers brought him, your soldiers gave us water, cigarettes, medicines, we had no dugouts, they wrapped our legs, and so yeah, I don't think Russian troops show this level of humanity and compassion towards wounded Ukrainian soldiers on the battlefield. Every day, Russia's losses continue. The Ukrainian MOD published this video of a Russian Panzer S-1 anti-aircraft system being destroyed. If you want to see the video, I'll link it down below. Secret Russian counter-drone electronic warfare system recovered by Ukraine in the Kursk region. On August 14th, a Facebook post showed the discovery of an unused Volna-Rens complex still in its packaging, complete with all the technical documents.
We have finished the research.
So this is one of the top secret anti-drone EW system that Russia uses. And the Ukrainians found one still in packaging with its technical measures. This is going to be sent back to be studied by Western engineers and scientists, and if they can find a vulnerability, Russia's tanks fleet-wide just got weaker. Russia says they repelled 12 missiles targeting the Crimea Bridge. Russian-controlled authorities claim a drone attack in Sevastopol and Kerch last night. I do think Ukraine has taken shots at this bridge to test Russia's air defense systems. But Russia has triple or quadruple overlapping systems protecting this bridge. It's the most obvious military target on the battlefield.
Ready to scout.
So Russia was able to protect it last night. But there's always tomorrow. There's always next week. I do think eventually this bridge is coming down. Major power outage hits the far east of Russia. This is in Vladivostok, and they're without power for some reason. This is nowhere near the war zone. Russia is just collapsing everywhere. Their rail network, their utilities, their roads and bridges and infrastructure. It's only going to get worse by this winter. Russian food suppliers warn of price hikes up to 40%. Suppliers of bread, dairy, chocolate, and beer in Russia have informed retailers of impending price increases of up to 40% over the next month. In a single month, 40% increases. Price hikes slated for August and September are being attributed to a combination of high inflation, expensive loans, as well as the rising costs of shipping, personnel, packaging, and raw materials.
Ready to scout.
It's only going to get worse, Russia. Putin knows this. I have to mention this story, but apparently Kadyrov got his hands on a Tesla Cybertruck and then mounted it with a machine gun. These are called technicals. I'm not going to play the video. I'll link it down below if you want to see Kadyrov being an idiot, but yeah, it'd be nice if Elon Musk said something negative about this, condemn this, but you know, if Elon Musk has nothing to say about this, then that's a tacit endorsement of his trucks being used by the Russian military for absurd propaganda stunts. Let's get to the good news for Ukraine. Ukraine exports over 64 million tons of cargo through the Black Sea corridor over the last year. So the grain deal fell apart last June or July. Ukraine in August decided just to start doing it anyways. The first ship went through, and then once people thought it was safe, more and more came. So this volume includes 43.5 million metric tons of Russian products, total 2,379 vessels. 5 Russians in Russian port, they sink their ships, do not go to Ukrainian ports. The 2,300 ships chose to Ukraine is able to get their exports out to Africa, Asia, and the rest of the world. This is a huge deal. The Biden administration considers sending long-range missiles to Ukraine. Ukraine's Air Force could receive significant boost as the U.S. considers supplying joint air-to-surface
enemy is stealing our
This is the
territory from us.
American equivalent of a Storm Shadow or Scout Christmas. I'm sure the United States has a lot of them. I think the White House is waiting for F-16s
We have
to
lost an
arrive.
emplacement.
More F-16s will be coming soon. And nobody would be talking
enemy
about
remains
this
stubborn.
unless
We are
basically
down
the
to
decision
300
is already made. I do think Ukraine will receive these JASSMs. These are 370-kilometer range cruise missiles with 450-kilogram penetrator warheads. So it's only going to get worse for Russia. Ukrainian Olympic fencer Olga Karlan's saber sold at auction to support the military. I think I mentioned this 2 days ago, but the Ukrainian fencer who won gold, she's going to keep her gold medal. I think that's important, but she decided to auction off her saber, and it went for $250,000 US. So somebody purchased it for 10 million of Ukraine's currency. That's about $250,000 US. So it's a good story.
We are losing
And the
possession
money
of the
will be
capture
used to
point.
purchase automated turrets
Yes,
for
sir. We are ready.
infantry of the Ukrainian army.
Shock veterans have been relinquished to us.
Final clip I want to share with you is of a first ever children's sleeper rail car going into service with Ukraine's rail network. This was announced by UNICEF.
Marks deployed.
First children's train carriage. The carriage is the first children's carriage set to be launched by the end of 2024. It is suitable for families with children of all ages.
We must fall back for
but
now.
specifically adapted for children aged 0 to 8 years old, with busy boards, padded handrails, and changing stations. So it's just a train car you can book if you have children between the ages of 0 and 8. And I just wanted to share this video. Brilliant idea, looks like a lot of fun. That's all for this update video. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up.
Vice President Kamala Harris will unveil a proposed ban on price gouging. Now, Kamala's narrative is that inflation isn't real, grocery stores are just too greedy, charging extra money for no reason. This is ridiculous. And you know how grocery store margins work? They are the thinnest margins.
Yeah, dude, this is some real populist narratives right here. Hey boys, I love that right-wing populism immediately falling apart. Democrats have to, like, literally within an ass hair move to the left. Just a little bit. Marginally, Democrats move to the left a little bit with like bold policy proclamations, and immediately they're like, do you know how tiny the profit margins are at corporations? Like, what are you saying, dude? Have you seen Walmart? What are you talking about? We give Walmart $6.2 billion in subsidies per year. They made $147 billion in profit in 2023. It's also like 50% owned by the Walton family still. So like, it's like 7 people that we gave half of $147 billion in profit to. And these motherfuckers are still like, it's not enough. Permanent profits. It's not enough.
On the field.
Fucking die. If you're working poor, you deserve death. You deserve death and destruction. Because we need to move profit margins by 1 extra percent, which means like $7 gazillion for 7 people. It's the working poor saying the same shit too. They don't know any better, brother. They don't know any better. They've never lived in a world where like we've actually moved in a leftward direction. With the exception of some civil liberties, we've never actually seen any kind of like economic prosperity. That's why.
The Democrats are trying to say, well, corporations are greedy and they're just price gouging. We know why prices are going up. When you have more dollars in the system than goods and services, prices go up. Inflation is the most proven way to crush an economy in a country. Government overspending is the reason why you get inflation. And Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote on trillions of dollars of unnecessary government overspending that flooded the zone with dollar bills and has raised your grocery prices.
Straight up defending corporations. And not even doing a good enough job like tying it back to the individual consumer and how this will harm them.
So now she's saying,
Oh, I got mad that day.
Control. This is terrible.
I got mad that day and removed you.
She would then be at war against one of the most firmly settled rules of economics.
Hey, man.
Literally 1,700 years ago,
pretty
the
mad.
Roman Emperor Diocletian tried to stop inflation with an edict on prices.
Hey, at least I
During
didn't leave the
French
house.
Revolution, the revolutionary government passed the law on the maxim of the maximum, capping prices on food. It failed. Instead, what did it lead to? Famine. If you come in with price controls, you are going to have food shortages.
Why? Walk me through it. Are you saying that we are at the behest of corporate entities that will refuse to continue producing? First and foremost, there's not a single country that does not open up their hand and take billions of dollars in subsidies from Big Daddy government in an effort to already keep prices adjusted. So if they say no, okay, seize them. Seize those agricultural producers and bring them under the big banner of government. Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to go against the American government? What are you, crazy? This is why I don't have that much of an issue with, like, the way that China operates. Can you imagine a world in which, like, agricultural producers in China go against the Chinese government? They're like, excuse me, sir. We actually want to make sure that we keep prices high. Can you imagine? Immediately, they'd be like, good one. Okay, you're going to jail. That's it. What a ridiculous, nonsensical proposition. There's no world in which our agricultural producers do not operate without American subsidies.
Victory point is under enemy control.
Jackass. We pay for those subsidies, and then they still turn around. And that's not produce food at reasonable levels. Oh no, that's so sad, bro. That's so sad. They're just not going to produce because make a tidy profit margin. Okay, institute the Defense Production Act instantly, and if they don't comply, seize it. Subsidies for corporations ingrained in the Republican platform. Necessities and groceries should be fixed margin, low profitable businesses. Kroger and Walmart could be nationalized, and it would improve the working class living by a vast amount. Solve wealth inequality. This is not communism, a red scare tactic. This is smart economics. Republicans, inflation is a huge issue. Biden and Kamala own it. We need to check these corporations. Propose a ban on price gouging. This is unacceptable and disqualifying. Worst policy ever. These idiots aren't even trying. Just be honest and say policy is irrelevant to you, and you're against the Democrats no matter what. Spare us the time and fake outrage. You can't identify a farm. Shut the f up. Immediately trying to hit like an American mythical farmer, you know? Bitch, the farmers are also suffering from corporate price gouging. What, the farmer eats his own corn? Is that all he's doing? He's just shoving corn in his asshole? That's what it is? The farmers that you give a f about are the ones who own the farms. That's it. But the farmers that you constantly bring up as a defensive shield are also getting ass blasted by goddamn corporate price gouging. Look at that. Greedflation caused more than half of last year's inflation surge. Study finds as corporate profits remain at all-time highs. Wow. Shocking. From the communists over at Fortune, dude. This is why I was saying, like, a lot of people constantly lie and yell at leftists and progressives for saying objective truths. Being a leftist is about being right just too early, always and forever. And people still get negatively polarized against you, and then they just move on. They might arrive at your position a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, when it's far too late down the line, and it still doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Because they already have that resentment towards you. That's it, though. It's always the same. Same shit with Israel. Same shit with swapping out Kamala Harris. Or swapping out Biden with Kamala Harris. That's why I say history will absolve me no matter what. We've been saying it's greedflation, that corporations just kept prices high and increased it regardless. And it's like, oh, you're just making that up. You just hate the wealthy. You just keep saying wealthy people bad. That's it. Please believe me, it is not. It is not actually corporations keeping prices high. It's not. It's actually, they just have no other way. They just have no other way to do it. Remember when they said that about the freaking bird flu too? You never let a good price go to waste. Corporations have one speed. They're always going to lie to you. Remember when I told you Walgreens was lying when they said that they were going to shop in Oakland and San Francisco because and it was getting out of control for them, and that's why they were closing up shop in San Francisco? And I told you that that was a lie, that they were trying to use a very popular narrative that was already running amok to shelter the truth, to hide the real reason. It's because Amazon is cleaning out their pockets, and brick and mortar sales are too costly because real estate prices affect them negatively as well. Remember when I told you that everyone told me I was radical, that I love crime, and I just like people are doing crime all the time or some shit, like, you know, racialized sentiment in the chat. And then a year later, the CFO of Walgreens was like, yeah, my bad, we actually lied about this completely. I live in a gated community, and that's why I don't understand it. That's what they were saying. I live in a gated community, apparently. News to me, by the way. Whenever they're defending Walgreens.
And now she's spelling out more of her communistic policy. So, as of today, she's going to call on Congress to pass a federal ban on price gouging as part of her economic platform, according to Politico, to lower grocery prices and everyday costs. This is idiot policy. And passing federal laws on price gouging on groceries is idiot policy. The reality is that in the grocery industry, profit margins are well under 2%. There's very, very little profit margin in the grocery industry, because it's really competitive. There are tons of groceries, there's tons of supply, there is no shortage of food in the United States. And so the idea that it is monopolistic companies price gouging people, and that's why the prices have gone up, is insane. First of all, price gouging in general is almost always crap, because the reality is that prices are determined by supply and demand. But there is no actual definition for price gouging, because it turns out that according to Democrats, price gouging is just prices they don't like. Doesn't make.
Hey, by the way, just a grocery store has a different name, and there's like 3 of them in your neighborhood, doesn't mean that they're not the same company. So you guys understand. That's number 1. Number 2, grocery stores have increasingly merged with one another, and there's a massive merger in play right now as we speak. The last 2 major grocery stores have been trying to consolidate. So just understand that Ben is just straight up lying to you when he says there's a tremendous amount of competition in the grocery chain, grocery store business. Ben's also lying about the price, the profit margins that he's talking about, as far as the grocery business being too hard to. I mean, they're just like they're voluntarily offering, you know, these incredibly low price points, even though it's just crazy. It's just such a hard industry. Why is he lying so much? Because he's a right-wing bullshit. I already went into detail about how leadership, especially when they have corporate consolidation in the sector, and grocery stores, of course, have massive corporate consolidation. Very easy under an oligopolistic structure to engage in what is known as price leadership. The other side of this issue is that what's the alternative here? Corporations bring up the prices. There's no competition, which he lied about. What are you going to do? Not eat? Good luck.
But she believes that she's going to bring down prices through price controls. This has been tried. It is Soviet-style policy. It is Cuban-style policy. It is Venezuelan-style policy. Simply declaring that the price of a product shall be X does not guarantee the widespread availability of that product. In fact, what it leads to is a spur in demand and a reduction in supply.
Why, Ben? More people can buy food. They're going to eat. Why is that going to decrease supply? Why can't supply keep up with the amount of purchase? It always does. It always has. We have a surplus, dude. We literally dump a shit ton of food. We do not have a shortage of food. Ben already admitted that. Not only do we already not have a shortage of food, we literally waste a shit ton. That is because we want to maintain the same prices for food. If we didn't dump all the food that we're not consuming, then all of a sudden prices will get lower. And then companies will not want to yield the same level of crop. What other people are not considering, or what Ben is not considering in this situation, is that there's subsidies all the way anyway. These companies are already completely subsidized by the government. So we have subsidies that taxpayers are paying for to make these companies. And beyond those subsidies, we're also welfare to companies like Walmart and whatnot that take advantage of the food stamps, CBT, SNAP benefits that those very same workers utilize at the fucking store, mind you, double dipping into the fucking profit. And this dipshit is over here acting like there's nothing we can do. If these guys say, oh, sorry, we can't supply because price points are too low, we just can't keep supplying the same level of food, then you institute the Defense Production Act,
Victory
if
point
they
lost.
don't change their attitude, then you take it over. It's easy.
But it's actual terrible policy. Every economist understands, right, left, center, unless you're like a full-scale Marxist, that price controls are some of the worst policies you could possibly implement, and obviously because she is of the opinion that Americans are too stupid to understand what price controls are.
Dude, the funniest part about it is that he relies on how stupid his audience is to advocate for something that only benefits corporations, not even do a good enough job in his advocacy, because he knows his audience is so fucking dumb and they trust him that they won't realize that this is purely against the interests of his own audience, of the citizens. He's putting profit over people and not even doing a good enough job with like the messaging, knowing full well that these guys will just like eat out of his no matter what.
But according to Politico, of course, it's a political move. Elevated everyday costs inflated the Biden-Harris administration since Americans' grocery bills spiked during the pandemic. Even with some promising news forward, most major voter surveys show President Biden and Harris well behind former President Donald Trump on the economy.
Is Ben going to mention Trump's policies on how he's going to magically cut the price of groceries in half, as he has claimed he will do once he's president? Because like, what's Trump going to do? Like, he thinks drill baby drill is somehow going to magically translate to cheaper barrels of oil for Americans, when America is exporting that oil anyway and has at times outright refused to make up for the supply shortage when OPEC Plus decided to limit the supply of oil and greatly drove up prices in the aftermath of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, openly stating that like their only responsibility for the United States of America, for the American are not even remotely interested in lowering oil prices. As a matter of fact, they take advantage of OPEC Plus increasing oil prices by limiting supply. It doesn't make sense. I mean, Biden has offered an incredible amount of new land leases in general, in terms of like opening up new wells or opening up new areas that you can engage in drilling. The American oil and gas giants do not fucking play ball, because why should they? They own the government.
Food is not more expensive because the bread companies decided randomly to raise the prices in collusion with one another. Food is more expensive because the Federal Reserve pumped money into the economy at a rate unprecedented in human history, and then the Biden-Harris administration decided to jack more money.
Wait, who did that? Even on that front. So Biden jacked it. Who did it first? Not that it matters ultimately, but because it absolutely is not a byproduct of like 2 stimmy checks, no matter how hard these guys chirp about this shit, but instead, or the PPP loans, obviously, and instead directly related to companies genuinely doing that, genuinely increasing prices and keeping them high. Even in his own argument, he's shitting on Donald Trump. He won't say it outright because he knows his audience is stupid as.
When you helicopter money on people, it doesn't make things worth more inherently. It just means the price of everything goes up. If I give everybody in the United States $10 extra, no one is any richer. It just means the prices go up by $10. That's all that happens because supply and demand. Ooh.
Market forces do not operate by magic. At a certain point, there is literally a person that is responsible for increasing prices. Like, he makes it seem like it's gravity. We already dump a shit ton of food, man. What the fuck are we talking about? The idea that supply and demand is a naturally occurring phenomenon is so insane. I don't think he believes that either.
In the middle of an inflationary spiral, she has another proposal. This one is on housing. Guess what it is? Wait for it. It's free money. I know you weren't expecting it. Free money from Democrats in the middle of a $30 trillion national debt? No, they would never do such a thing.
Oh my God, national debt. Oh, that's great. Republicans going back in deficit hawking when the toothpaste is completely out of the tube at this point. Great stuff. Please campaign on that, man. No, for sure. How about we no longer give free money to Israel? Where's your deficit hawking there, Ben? I ain't never seen you chirp about unlimited billions of dollars going to Israel, Ben. Huh? Deficit hawking only comes into play when you're talking about offering regular American working class individuals some financial help. Immediately, whoa! Calm down. We can't do that. We can't do that. There's a hazard there. There's a moral hazard. Unlimited funds to Israel, though, please. He doesn't give a about debt, bro. He loved the Trump tax cuts. He loved the Trump tax cuts. Don't give me this shit about deficit hawking. Same with inflation, like Trump tax cuts. What do you think that did?
The Biden-Harris administration initially proposed providing $25,000 in down payment assistance only for 400,000 first-generation home buyers or home buyers whose parents don't own a home, and a $10,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers. Vice President Harris's plan will simplify and significantly expand that plan by providing up to $25,000 for all eligible first-time home buyers, while still calling for a significant addition for first-generation homeowners. It will expand the reach of down payment assistance, allowing over 4 million first-time buyers over 4 years to get significant down payment assistance on average of $25 grand to get the funds they need to buy a first home. So what is that? That is helicoptering $25,000 of cash for people who want to buy a first home. Now, I have no idea what the provisions on creditworthiness are here, because it turns out they're going to flush a bunch of that money down the toilet if you are simply giving people money who cannot afford to actually pay for the mortgage. The down payment is only part of what you're paying when you pay for a house. There's upkeep, there's mortgage. Turns out owning a home, kind of expensive.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of people who have enough in their finances to become first-time home buyers, but this would be greatly beneficial for their down payment, right? Like, they have enough to pay for the mortgage, they have enough for everything else, but there's like a little bit of a budget shortfall there. Ultimately, this is not a solution to the problem. This is not even a patchwork solution to the problem at all. The reality of the matter is, obviously, the solution to the problem is deflating home prices. And the only way to do that is by increasing supply and also making it as unaffordable as possible to be a landlord. Decommodifying housing is the only way out of this problem. Ben, of course, thinks that's communism, and in some respects, it kind of is socialism. I'll be honest with you, but it's good. Not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Ben says, if union's so good, why have the American capitalist class eviscerated them so there's only 10%? Ben says, if home ownership's so good, why is everybody renting? I don't know, man. Maybe because it's f***ing impossible to own a home, dude. Like, what do you mean? As you always say, it's expensive to be poor. My mortgage payment is way cheaper than the rents in my area. I know. It always is, of course, because your rent is subsidizing your landlord's mortgage. Your rent is oftentimes paying the entirety of your landlord's mortgage, and then some. The real barrier is the down payment. This is supposed to try and make up for that.
Now remember, when J.D. Vance proposes a tax credit for new parents in order to increase the number of children being born in the United States, then that is sexist and horrifying. When Kamala Harris does it, it's genius and wonderful. The difference between the two proposals, I would assume, is that J.D. Vance's proposal actually has some work requirements attached to it, because we would like to see people be able to support their kids beyond a $6,000 tax credit. One of the things Democrats tried to do by increasing these payments during the pandemic was basically make them universal without any work requirements whatsoever, essentially implementing a universal basic income. Harris, echoing Joe Biden, wants to bring back 2021's expanded child tax credit, which was $3,600 per child under age 5 and $3,000 for those older under the American Rescue Plan. There were no work provisions under the American Rescue Plan, and so what it ended up being was just free money helicoptered.
Dude, what are we saying, brother? Dude, I love Republicans because they're just like, good things are actually bad and bad things are actually good. Most of this commentary just revolves around like, America has a lot of issues. We mustn't solve them. If you try to solve them, I will defend it tooth and nail to not solve them.
Again,
Don't ban them.
This sort of stuff is for stupid people. It is economic policy that was dropped on its head as a baby. And yet Wall Street seems to be willing to dump money on her. Why? And the answer is because Wall Street is always trying to get in bed with the person they think is most powerful.
Damn, he's just recognizing that Kamala Harris is a better shot at winning than Donald Trump. Therefore, Wall Street is trying to get in bed with Kamala Harris, even though her tax policies in this regard are going to be worse for the economy overall. Only Ben knows what's good for the economy. Not Wall Street, not Kamala Harris, nobody else, just Ben.
It is not capitalism. And then, when that system inevitably falls on its face, because the government is bad at picking winners and losers, when those bubbles always burst, capitalism gets blamed. It's one of the perversities of the way that our system of government works under a mixed economy. Mixed economy meaning free market for some parts and government sponsored, subsidized, and run for other parts.
There's literally not a single sector that doesn't rely on government. Bro, Ben loves talking about the oil and gas industry. He is funded by oil barons, by the way, the Wilkes brothers. I believe those are the two guys. 85% of the subsidies in the energy sector go to the oil and gas industry. I ain't never heard him chirp about that. Yeah, Dan and Ferris Wilkes are funders of the Daily Wire and founders of the Daily Wire.
And so what they're hoping is that the less you see of Kamala Harris, the more you will like her, which frankly is a good strategy because the more you see of her, the more you dislike her. They put out a statement yesterday after Donald Trump had suggested that there'd be 3 presidential debates, just like normal, because the last candidate, died. So he has said, why don't we have 3 presidential debates? She said, no, won't do it. Quote, the debate about debates is over. I like that they can just declare this. They can just randomly declare that the debate about the debates is over. That doesn't have any totalitarian overtones.
Totalitarian overtones. Kamala Stalin Harris only wanted to do 1 debate instead of 3. It's so funny. Donald Trump was literally avoiding doing any debates at all, harder than you avoid the top of the hour ad break. And now he's like, actually, no, it's Kamala Harris that's running away from the debate. There should be 1,000 debates. Let 1,000 debates bloom.
The more they play games, the more insecure and unserious Trump and Vance reveal themselves to be. The American people, those games end now. I mean, the only campaign that's been playing games about the debates has been the Kamala Harris campaign. Because Donald Trump made a commitment to Joe Biden, who is no longer the actual nominee.
The more that the Trump campaign goes nutty mode, the more Ben Shapiro basically has to readjust his commentary to reflect how stupid the Trump administration is. Like, I think Ben's smarter than this. Like, I don't think Ben's a stupid guy by any means, all right? But Ben knows what his audience is, what their demands are, and has to do commentary that is adjusted to, like, what the candidate is. It is pretty funny for him to just blatantly disregard reality in this situation, because he's just like, yeah, it's actually the Kamala Harris that's like against it. The more debates. It's like everybody fucking heard Donald Trump run away originally from debating.
Now, the reality is that she is attempting to distance herself from Joe Biden while embracing even more communistic and socialistic policies. And she wants to have it both ways. She wants to both say that she was deeply embedded in Bidenomics and also she has no responsibility for Bidenomics. But he was saying things that she can't dissociate with because she actually requires the same voters that Biden had in the bag. So here was Joe Biden rallying with Kamala Harris yesterday saying everyone does better with more unions. I mean, if that were true, then there would be more than 7% of the workforce currently unionized in the private.
Oh my God, I hate this monstrous piece of shit.
It is eminently untrue. In fact, everyone does significantly worse with large-scale unions. In the United States, consumers get absolutely screwed. Industries turn into zombie industries subsidized by the federal government. This is the story of the car industry in the 1960s and 70s in the United States.
I love this. He's like, yeah, if unions are so good, why 7%? Why 7%? We're in America. Is it because of dipshits that pay your salary have completely gutted labor unions? That's also part of the reason why there's no like mechanism of balance. It's completely out of whack. Corporations do whatever the they want, dude.
They told me every major piece of legislation we passed to give us the strongest economy in history and the strongest economy in the world. We got more to do for working people. By the way, everybody does better